I want to invite Cecilia Oldne from Sweden-India Business Council.
Thank you very much,
to the stage. I mean, Cecilia, you're many things, and you're also the chief, you're the chief of chiefs for SIBC, is what I would say. And you're also an entrepreneur, you're an investor. So Cecilia is, I would say, one of our most multi-talented leaders that we have between India and Sweden. And you've been working with the India-Sweden ecosystem for so long, which has been fantastic for us, you know. So, Cecilia, this session is about travel and sustainability, and I leave it over to you to take it forward. Give her a big round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's also like to wake up after lunch, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you.
Or maybe you don't need that.
Such a pleasure to be back here at India-Sweden Innovation Day, Sanju. And I'm hoping that we're going to get some more people joining us from outside, because this is going to be a very interesting session. And we're going to talk about something very close to my heart, which is, I don't think I need both of these, which is travel. And as I travel a lot because I live in Mumbai, but I go to Sweden all the time, connecting Sweden and India. What has become very important to me is that I also think about my carbon footprints. And for that reason, I travel with one particular airline, and I also have collaborations with one particular travel agency, and that gives me the great pleasure to then introduce and to welcome on stage the country manager of Emirates for Sweden and Finland, Björn Ekegren. And we also have with us Sophie. Please have a seat, Björn. We also have on stage Sophie Gränsbo, who is the head of innovation and sustainability for Big Travel. Welcome. And I can see that they did not have the time to update the speakers, because I know that your colleague Johan Nyrén was supposed to be with us, but we have the pleasure of having you instead, because you are the one focusing on, in particular, sustainability and innovation at Big Travel. So this panel, as you can see, is going to be about travel as a business accelerator with focus on sustainability. And what is it then that we want to know more about when it comes to how Emirates and Big Travel are operating? Well, a few things. I'm thinking I should come and sit with you on the sofa, because I feel like I'm somewhere else. So starting off with you, Björn, who again is the country manager of Finland and Sweden for Emirates. What is it that you do, and how does Emirates incorporate sustainability into your program and the various ways that you work at Emirates?
Hello. Nice to be here again. Nice to see you again, Cecilia.
Thank you.
I will talk a little bit about Emirates and what we are doing within the field of sustainability. The three pillars that we are working with is as I said, reducing emissions is the first one, consuming responsibility the second one, and also preserving wildlife and habits. But today, focus more on the reducing emission part. And decarbonization is, of course, part of our framework and strategy in the many years to come, and we have already done a lot, but more can be done. Emirates is also supporting, there is an organization called IATA, International Air Transportation Association, and they have an objective or a commitment to reach zero emission by 2050 within our industry. And we are supporting that. So that's the objective, by 2050, be zero carbon airline.
I think deserves an applaud.
Today we are already now operating with a modern fleet, and the fuel efficiency is quite good, but of course that could be better. And that's why we have ordered 305 new aircrafts that we are waiting for. And the good part about the new aircraft is that they will be 22% more fuel efficient than previous generation. So that's one way, of course, for us to reduce the emissions. We are also, but that is more an internal part, green operating procedures. That's how we handle the aircrafts on ground in Dubai, to minimize taxi between different parts of the airport. It's also about how can we optimize the way we are landing to minimize the emissions. And lastly, also, we carry a lot of fuel on board when we take off and so on, but try to minimize that in a way that is still safe, of course, but not carry too much fuel on board, because the weight of fuel is a lot. The sun is, by the way, always shining in Dubai.
That's correct.
So we make use of that. So we have invested a lot in solar panel systems that produce electricity for our facilities and so on. So that's one part. And then we have the hot topic, sustainable aviation fuel. Is that the magic? Maybe not, but maybe it is. In the short term, absolutely it is. We are working together with a lot of partners to secure deployment and scaling up of sustainable aviation fuel. Because that is one of the problems as well. And that is the access to sustainable aviation fuel. It's not available in the quantity that the industry needs. Another issue, of course, it is expensive. It's 2 to 3 times more expensive than normal jet aviation fuel. Other things that affect the way we are operating and fuel emissions and so on is actually the geopolitical situation. What is happening around the world, that we need from time to time use flight paths that are not optimal, but that's the way it is. I was on my way to Dubai last week, by the way, and ended up on an island called Rhodes instead, in Greece, because there were some missiles going on between Iran and Israel. So there are geopolitical things around us that is affecting our industry as well.
But you're covering, I mean, from everything that you do to ensure that you're reducing the carbon footprints to being the first choice for travelers who wants to travel in a more sustainable way. All these things, of course, is something that you're doing, and you're doing it great. You've been doing it for a year, and you're really working towards more things. And when you talked about the collaborations and how you work with various partners, I know that big travel is one of them, and I think it'd be interesting to understand from Sophie in regards to, do you see that your travelers are actually opting to travel in a more sustainable manner? And what are the key trends that you are seeing, and how are you taking care of that with big travel and with the collaborations also with the likes of Emirates?
Works great. I work closely both with, of course, our suppliers, but with our clients as well. So in terms of our customers' need, we do see that it has been a shift towards wanting to travel more sustainable. Of course, parts of that is an internal force that they want to behave that way. But what we do see is the pressure that comes from especially companies that are practicing within the EU, they do have to comply with CSRDs. So there's also an external force forcing companies to think, okay, how can we ensure that we travel sustainable? How can we ensure that that is also something that goes along with all the other needs that we might have? For example, of course, it will be more sustainable to take the train, but does that actually work with everything else you have to take into account? So what I do is that I work closely with our customers. We have different tools allowing customers to analyze their data. And that is also something that goes along with my other part and the other responsibility I have at BIG, which is innovation. So how does innovation and sustainability go along together? Well, there's a lot of tech available right now that allows companies to be more compliant. And when you do have a travel partner, such as BIG, we can allow you to access your data and do proper analysis of that, and also be compliant with all the different laws that apply to your company. I don't know if that was...
No, that was a great answer to the question. Do you then, when it comes to the collaboration between Emirates and Big Travel, do you actually look at the data that comes from all these different travel agencies, and when it comes to collaboration potentially with trains? I know that you mentioned, for example, that you actually look into how people are traveling when they are in Dubai. How can you help them also in the sustainable thinking when they're actually, moving around, not being in an airplane? So maybe a few words from you also, Björn, on how you actually, work on sustainable practices on the ground.
For us, of course, with our partners like BIG, it's important that we have a close communication, dialogue, and exchange information and so on. So that's very important. Then we are working with other partners also, intermodal transportation, like railway, to minimize the carbon footprint as well. Use the train when you go to Arlanda Airport, as an example. Yes, we are sharing information with each other.
And when it comes to, you also mentioned what you're doing in the airlines on sustainable practices that people might not be aware of. But of course, we spoke about the fuel, we spoke about all the things that are actually happening inside the airline that has a sustainable angle to it.
I mean, SAF is what we are working with right now, but there is a future, of course, after that as well. And that I heard from Volvo talked about hydrogen as an example. And that is something that we are closely following the development, but that is a little bit more long term. And it will require enormous investments when it comes to fueling infrastructure, as an example, at the airports. How will the aircrafts look like when we are using hydrogen? I don't know. But it's most likely the future.
Thank you. I also know that you were touching on the routes, how are you actually mapping the future of airlines and the various routes that are going to play a very important role in the future. Do you want to say something short about that?
That was about travel growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I know it's a very important point for you, so I thought it'd be good to just share some.
And if you think that travel will not continue to grow, you're wrong. At least according to the forecast that is coming from IATA. IATA is stating that travel will increase by 4% annually until 2040. 4%. The largest growth will come from Asia. And main part of that will be from India. The smallest growth will actually be from Europe. But Asia Pacific is the region that will have the largest growth in the future. And what does that mean for the industry and us as an airline?
And what does it mean as something that is related to a travel agency, because for you, when people are coming to you and they want to book travels with you, corporates, etc., I think it's important for them also to understand then, not only that you collaborate with Emirates and that you fly with Emirates, but also what are the tools and strategies that you can help them work around and use when they actually work with the likes of big travel.
Sure.
To minimize the carbon footprint.
Yeah. As you say, of course, travel will increase, and therefore also the need to understand your travel behaviors internally at the company. So that's something that we help them with. So part of that is allowing companies to have access to carbon budgeting tools. Just as you would set a budget and a financial budget, in the future we also see that companies will apply, and some companies are already working with it with a carbon budget. So that is one tool that we offer, and of course also carbon reporting tools. And that is something that we offer both like live data. You can analyze it, you can put in different type of values and see, okay, how will the outcome be from us traveling this way versus another way, and how is it looking currently. So allowing customers to both be self-service, have that access whenever they want to look at it, but also have access to us. And of course, us having a close collaboration with other suppliers. So when they're asking, okay, so why should we travel with this airline or with this hotel, we already have the answers. And if we don't, we know who to ask.
That's great. Well, on that note, we have run out of time. I would like to continue this discussion after this panel. There's so many questions I'm sure are going to come from the audience. I'm looking forward to seeing more of this in the future, and also flying back with Emirates to Mumbai this week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.